the directors who did Everything Everywhere All at Once. And that was something original, something out there, something exciting, something different. And of course,
my
they
God,
won
held our
Oscars for
fingers.
it. It did fantastic. And then they got signed on now to direct an episode of Skeleton Crew, the new Star Wars series coming to Disney Plus. Now, there's not a lot known about this show. Not really a lot, but they're just saying that it centers around a group of kids lost in the galaxy trying to find their way home in this series. And it's set in the New Republic era and is executive produced by the Mandalorian mastermind, Jon Favreau. So this is moving forward. They directed an episode, and I think that's pretty awesome. Of course, Jude Law's in this, and he's like the main person that's going to be starring in here. But beyond that, we really don't know the cast. We don't know much about. This is what happens with these programs, these Star Wars secretive programs and Disney Plus. And for me, though, I read this, and the first thing I thought was like, okay, this is great because they're working Star Wars, which means they're working for Disney, which means they're that much closer to Marvel that they might make a good multiverse movie. That's just me. So get them in there, have them do a Star Wars movie, and then have them maybe do Marvel. But it's just a segue for them. It's like the very first time. It's a big opportunity for them. They signed a deal with Universal, and their next movie is an original movie. They're doing Universal too. So they got their projects in the back burner. But for me, I'm pretty excited about this. I think this is great that these guys are getting an opportunity to do more stuff with bigger companies too. But people saw what they did. They know what they can do with like a smaller budget. Like, what can you do with the bigger budget? You know, probably a lot. But I'm excited. Sabrina, what do you think? Are you excited about this? Do you think this is a good thing? And you said that they're getting more opportunity.
I'm a big fan of them, so like I feel like this is a natural step, and I hope that they get more opportunities like this. Like I would like them to, direct an episode of fucking Mandalorian, or like, you know what I mean? Like I think this is like the first step in many of their career. Like they just are a fun, quirky pair who are just like, I don't know, they're so gracious and so loving and so amazing.
Oh
And
yeah.
I also love Jude Law. So I'm actually very much looking forward to this.
They're like best, you can tell like best friends just having a great
Yeah,
time
and so
making
happy,
movie.
and they respect and love it. Like there's no competition between the two of them. They're like amazing equals, which is really hard with a pair. So I'm in full support of anything that they do. Their work is amazing, and their attitude is amazing, and I want to see anything that they do. And literally, there's like a few actors that I'm like, if they're in that movie, I'll watch it. Like these are directors that if anything they do, I'll watch it. So I'm very, very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Rachel, what do you think? Are you excited about Skeleton Crew? Are you excited that they're directing? What do you think about it?
I mean, good for them that they're getting them Disney bucks.
You're getting that Disney money.
Get your bag. But what what I would hate to see is for them to get sucked into the grindhouse of making Star Wars and Marvel and property films and not be able to have time or money or energy to explore their own creative projects. I think
That's a
they're
good
people
point.
who should definitely be given original properties. I don't think like at this point anyone can direct a fucking Star Wars. I could direct
That's
a Star
true.
Wars. Like
Yeah.
let some junior directors do that and let these really creative individuals go do something unique.
Yeah, which they are doing that with Universal. But I'm just saying we'll see where their career goes now, because after Everything Everywhere All at Once, people are looking at them differently now. They are.
Yeah.
It's a huge accomplishment. What do you think, Lexi? Are you excited about this? Do you think this is good they're doing Star Wars? Do you kind of lean with Rachel, like let them stay in their other universe and not get involved with the big conglomerate and the mouse?
No, I'm 100% with Rachel. These are the guys who did Swiss Army Man.
Yeah.
It's a movie about a farting
Oh shit,
corpse.
same people.
Like,
I love Swiss Army
They did
Man.
that.
yeah, like I mean, do you want to have somebody have like? I didn't like that movie, but also I tell everybody to watch that movie because it's one of the most creative and original films I've ever seen. And because of the level of like innovation and creativity that I've seen in it, I'm like, I've never seen anything like it before. You got to check it out. Like, never seen anything like it before. How often do you get to say that in this day and age? Like in this
Not that
modern
often.
day and age, like that's something that you just don't get. So it's like and Everything Everywhere, I haven't gotten to see it yet, but just from the trailers, I can tell like it's a unique film that's got a lot to offer, and I desperately want to see it. It's just like trying to play the streaming service game to get my hands on it, kind of thing. I guess I'll probably
I know.
buy it at this point. Like
I think
really
it's back
probably
in
will just break
theaters
down.
around us.
Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense.
Probably go
It's
down
like
to
they
Alma
want
and
to
see it.
bank. You win so many Oscars, they kind of bank off that afterwards, you know. And because it
So-
didn't have a huge theatrical one, you know, didn't make as much as like Titanic or Avatar, you know.
Which goes back to the conversation that me and Sabrina are always having on this show of look at the level of innovation that's coming out, look at the level of awards that level of innovation just got. Why don't we allow people to continue doing that? If they go into the Marvel machine, Marvel has a formula. There's no, like everybody's like said, like there's no way that you can make a Marvel film uniquely yours. Like they
Hold
can't
on.
be yours.
It can be. Look at Ragnarok and
Taika
Tiki
Waititi really
Yeah,
took
thank
those
you.
movies
Taika
to another
Waititi.
level.
I was
I
like,
still-
how do I say
I
his
love
fucking
him.
name? That
still-
is one very specific film that I can pull that has like a stamp on it, and it is Taika Waititi's stamp.
It has
Like
that
I'm
Taika Waititi
not saying
flavor to
it's
it.
not normal. Like I agree with you 110%. It's not normal for Marvel, but like I would hope that they would be able to put their stamp on something that
But
way.
even then, even with Taika Waititi, with Marvel, they really put the reins on you. Taika wasn't
No.
able to, as far as he wanted to with those films.
Right.
Well, with Ragnarok,
Yeah.
I believe he was. I think with Love and Thunder, it was
I think
a
Love
little
and
bit
Thunder
different.
changed.
Because
Love
Love
and
and
Thunder,
Thunder
they reined him
was
in.
a bit.
They
I
made him
mean,
a lot, yeah.
They let Sam Raimi direct the multiverse movie.
Yep.
I mean, how much
You didn't
of
see
that
it. I thought it was good.
how much of that possibly felt like a Sam Raimi movie?
A lot of it,
A lot of
actually.
it.
A lot of it.
A
You
lot
didn't
A
of
lot
it
of
did.
it, yeah. Even to the
Lexi,
design of the
I
characters.
swear, like
But-
the Scarlet Witch shit, like I literally was like, oh my god, this is so Sam Raimi. Like there were so many times where like I literally 100% saw him in that movie, and I know
Well-
that that's not like common
Like,
with
these
Marvel
directors
movies, but
can definitely get their stink on it, but they can't like
their stink
go
on it.
full hog.
Right. That's what I'm
They
saying.
can't
Like
really go all the way with what they want with it.
I feel like Ragnarok was all the way Taika Waititi. Honestly, I really do,
But,
and I feel
like-
like Sam Raimi did have a huge stamp on the Doctor.
But then
But
like
no, it's story
let's
though.
but then let's think about like that 1990s Mario Brothers movie.
Love that movie.
Was 100%. Those directors went off and did what they wanted with that movie. You cannot do that. You cannot
Right.
Yeah.
possibly do that.
No,
and
not
I'm
at all.
and,
It's
and
too
like
far.
that's what I'm
But
saying.
you
like,
can shape the ship. You can't write it, but you can shape it. You know what I
But with
mean?
So,
directors
like,
like these, with movies
I-
like Swiss Army Man and Everything Everywhere All at Once, like, don't Marvelify those guys. Let them
right. And
Let
like,
them do whatever the hell
No.
weird shit they're gonna do.
and like as much as like I'm not talking about it because I like it, like, you know, because it's a Mario Brothers movie. I like those directors who made that Mario Brothers movie. They're actually some of my favorite directors. They're the people who did Max Headroom. They're very strange, unique cyberpunk directors. Somebody allowed them
Be
to
French.
take the Mario Brothers property and run with it. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a great film, and it's a very unique film because of what they did with it. They actually took the property and utilized the pieces of the property in it and did it right, but also did their own thing with it. You could never make a film like that today. That film is impossible to make.
Never happened.
It is such a unique film. And like, as much as like we want to look at it and go, it's a failure as a studio film and a film based on a property, it is one of the most unique films ever to get made, and I love that it exists. Because the fact that you allowed those two weirdos to make a film based off of a property, and they did what they did, that will never happen again. And like, those directors that we're talking about, they're the kind of people that I want them to be able to have that level of creative control with a property, and they won't be able to with Disney. Just won't happen. So like, just let them go do more Swiss Army Man and weird shit, because that's their bread and butter, and like, they're fucking good at it. And I would way rather see a world full of that kind of stuff than see them like put out like another Marvel movie and stuff. Because quite frankly, like I don't want to see any more of that stuff, and I'm really not happy with the direction Star Wars has gone in, because I was really excited to see Star Wars start getting TV shows and all this kind of stuff. But the Star Wars that I grew up with and the Star Wars that I was excited about was the Star Wars that came from LucasArts and Lucas. And even though the films themselves always had a family-oriented quality, the outside properties always had these like qualities where there was cyberpunk and there was dark undertones, and like if you followed any of the bounty hunter stuff, it could have been heavier.
Whoa. Am I hearing that you don't love Mandalorian?
Not really, because the Mandalorian that I want is I want to see him riding a basilisk into the fucking atmosphere of the planet. Like, that's what I was waiting for. I wanted to see, you know, fucking the battle for the Darksaber properly done. I wanted to see the lore. I wanted to see what I know of as proper. Like, you do not take the helmet off. You do never take the helmet off. Like, there is so much Mandalorian lore that this show has broken. I will say, I like the show. It's my favorite Star Wars property that they've done. And out of everything, I'm 100% here for it. But no, it is not proper Mandalorian lore, and it pisses me off quite frequently that they do not follow it properly. I don't like the way that they handle IG-88. I don't like the way that they've done Boba Fett at all. High disrespect to Boba Fett. I don't know why.
A Star Wars podcast.
I want it to be violent. I want it to be as violent as it can be. There is violence in Star Wars. Like, when you told me that you're bringing my boy in to direct some Star Wars episodes, why the fuck were they so PG? I'm like, this is not what I want from this. We're talking about the guy who did Desperado. Those episodes should have been fucking off the chain. And they were, like, so tame and so lame. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like,
well, the mouse still runs it, though, Lexi. The mouse still runs it.
And also, like, just so you know, Pedro Pascal is a fucking cunt and wanted to have his face shown. So he was like, when can I take my helmet off as much as possible? And I love him, don't get me wrong. But, like, he didn't want to be the Mandalorian when he found out that it had to be the Mandalorian. Like, he didn't want to be behind that mask all the time. And his ego I'm sure, had a lot to do with why they structured the show the way that they did with taking the helmet off. But in the defense of that, like, it's created a whole new part of the show where he had to go back to Mandalore and regain his status as a Mandalorian and all this other shit. You know what I mean? So, like, and
the Mythosaur is coming.
Yeah, okay.
I still never got my basilisk. Where's my basilisk?
I
want a basilisk.
Okay,
I want to see him ride it through the atmosphere.
It'll be in the season's finale.
We'll get there.